Hi, this is Sue Russell here, occupational therapist, and I want to share with you some of my tips and tricks that I've used over the years that help to facilitate physical access for children and adults with physical impairments. I do lots of custom switch mounts, such as the one that you see here that is made out of Aquaplast splinting material that we'll see in a second. And this is going to be one in a series of sessions kind of sharing with you some tips that I found very helpful. So switch mounts is one category. The other category is handheld pointers for different hand function situations. So now what I want to do is get right into sharing with you how you can fabricate your own switch mounts and handheld pointers using splinting material. And I create these triangular mounting accommodations for switch. So we can place the switch on a material like this, which is a material called Veltec, and attach the switch at either this angle, or in this case we can change the orientation so it's more at a 90-degree angle, so the person can come onto the switch like this with their hand or knee or wherever the most functional control site is. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to fabricate one of these so you can use it yourself, and it's a nice low-cost way of trialing some things without spending a substantial amount of money in finding. This is a material called Aquaplast. It's a splinting material used by lots of OTs who make hand splints. I haven't made a hand splint in a long time, but I use Aquaplast because it's a really nice, forgiving material. It's easy to work with. If you mess up, you can heat it up again and reconfigure it into another creation. It comes in fairly large sheets that are probably twice or three times the size of this. And what you have to do in order to create like a switch mount, like this one here, we have to create a sliver of the material. So what you need basically is a sturdy ruler, a sharp box cutter, and then you figure out the width of your end product. In this case it's a little over 1 inch. So we set it for a little over 1 inch. We score it with the box cutter, being very careful to press down firmly several times in order to score the material. And then after you've scored it, you kind of fold it back to itself. Use your box cutter to break through, being careful not to cut yourself, obviously. And then we have kind of the starting point for this. The next thing that we have to do is we have to have a hot water source, and this is a splinting pan that's specifically designed for working with splinting material, but you could in fact use a frying pan or any pan that would accommodate hot water and would allow this to kind of soften. So what we can do is we put this in, and you have to kind of watch it and get a feel for it. But it takes like a minute or so at a pretty high temperature. As you can see, I always use the tip of my scissors to kind of move it around and see how malleable it is. So we wait for that to heat up a little bit, and then we take it out, and then we harden it into a shape by putting it into cold water. Ideally you should be near a sink, but a bucket of ice water will do as well. So what we basically want to do is we want to create an angle. We have two steps to this. One is creating the 90-degree angle, and the other is creating the 60-degree angle. And there are two steps. In between each of those steps we have to let it cool off. So now it's pretty, as you can see, it's pretty malleable, pretty just right for forming. So what I do is I will use a shelf as my platform for doing my first angle. So I'll put it down like this for making my 90-degree angle, and I'll go back to doing another one. Just for reference point, splinting material comes from a group here in the States called Patterson Medical. I believe they're international as well. I believe that the large sheets, which are about 3 times the size of this, run about $80 US, but it can be purchased in smaller quantities. And it comes in a wide variety of colors. So now the second piece is ready. As you can see, it's pretty flimsy, so you can move around. So I'm going to bring this over, put this on here, and I think our first piece is probably hard enough that I could put it in the water, the ice bath, and that'll really make it hard. Nice and so now we have the 90-degree angle. So now what we have to do is we have to heat up this end part to bend it in so we have a triangular mount. So what I do is I just hold it here and just heat up the third of the material that I need in order to close in that triangle. So I just will babysit it like this. This is a really nice low-cost way of providing a switch mount to somebody for whom you're working on switch access, switch placement, and for a lot of the individuals I work with, their motor capabilities are consistently inconsistent. So in reality, the environment has to accommodate to them rather than reverse. So now this is soft here now. So what I can do is just put it on a table like this. And now I've got my triangle. So once again, I'm just going to let it sit there for a bit to air dry. And when it cools down a little bit, it's going to be firm enough where I can put it in the ice bath and really solidify it. And then the final step is I will put sticky back hook Velcro around the whole perimeter of the mount. And then I'll put sticky back loop or fuzzy Velcro across that, because on the back of my switch I'm going to have the hook. So right now I could put this hook Velcro surface on this Veltec or loop-like material, and it's a way of anchoring it and also moving it around. And I can put my switch has the hook Velcro on the back, which is compatible with the loop. So that allows me to anchor it here. And then wires are always problematic for all of us, so one of the ways I get around doing cable management is put a little piece of hook Velcro on the cable and then attaching that to either the mount itself or to the Veltec surface. So now let's say we want to slightly change the angle of the switch placement. So we have another triangular switch mount, so we put another piece of hook Velcro around that surface and we get a 45-degree angle placement. So we put that on our Veltec, and now instead of our switch being totally upright at 90, it's a little bit more angled, and have the Velcro cable management. So this is what we have. So with one switch mount you have the option for basically 3 different angles of switch placement depending upon the movement capabilities of the individual.